I have been making games as a hobby, say, for 5 or 6 years, and just failing horribly to finish things. The first 4 years of that are like 2 now abandoned projects that were too big. And I was, building my own engine, making all the stupid mistakes everyone makes. And then last year, because of 1 game a month, I started working on smaller projects, things you can finish in 1 weekend, generally, within a month. And that completely changed how I work. I felt much more confident in actually finishing things. Yeah, so my name's Colm Larkin, and I'm running a company called Gambrinous. It started out as basically just me, but now there are a total of 4 of us in a variety of places around the world. So there's me and Owen here in Ireland, and then Fred in Sydney and Steve in Amsterdam. So we're kind of remote.
Oh, cool. So what's the last year been like for Gambrinous?
Well, at the start of this year, there was no Gambrinous. So this has been a formative year. So it's kind of come out of a game I'm working on called Guild of Dungeoneering. Just started in my free time last year. And this year I gave up my job and went full time on it. I was already working with Fred on it. And in the last couple of months then, Owen and Steve have joined. So it's kind of starting to build up steam. Very different year for me. If I look back on the whole of 2014, it's mad. I went to GDC, I just took holidays from my job. I went to GDC last March. It's the first time I went. It's kind of amazing. A month later, I gave up my job, put the game on Steam Greenlight, got approved in May. And then I was working full time on it by myself, working. And kind of like when the game is going to be finished, just kept getting further away. So it's kind of working out, what I can do and how long it takes and how much game I want to make. Then I got into an Enterprise Ireland fund called New Frontiers. It's essentially paid me for 6 months, and all kinds of startup training is involved in that. And that was brilliant. So that's just finished. And during that, I basically managed to get Owen to join. He's helping with programming, and Steve to do the soundtrack. So it's kind of all coming together. And now we're kind of doing a deal with a publisher to launch the game a lot bigger than we would by ourselves. So that's kind of come together at the moment.
Have you been to any Irish events throughout the year? Or?
Yeah. I help run a kind of low-key meetup group called One Game a Month Dublin. So there's a really cool idea called 1 Game a Month, and we just have a meetup where people showcase kind of games they've made at game jams, prototypes, even just games made specifically for 1 game a month. So I go to that. Well, that's every month. I love going along to Dub Ludo as well. So another kind of show off your games, meet other devs. I went to ArcadeCon in sometime during the summer. It's kind of a funny mix of cosplaying, comics, some games. So that was probably the only actual show I was at in Ireland.
Were you showing anything or just?
Yeah, brought the game along. So my way of building the game is that it's always playable. I've been sharing it online since last October and just prototyping and iterating. So anytime there's anything on, I can just bring it along and show. Which is brilliant for getting feedback and kind of seeing players' first time interaction with the game, which is really hard to get right when you're, so deep into the game yourself.